And then, hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Hi,
Nadia, not Noni? Is it Noni?
it's Noni. Yeah.
Noni, nice to meet you. I feel like I've seen a bunch of your content
Yeah.
online on
Always on there.
socials. Yeah.
Nice to
um,
meet you too.
give us a little bit of background. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, so I'm Nadia Iftikhar. I am the winner of the Replit 10-year build-a-thon. Yeah, I still say it out loud because I don't believe it yet, but I am a teacher. I built an app for deaf and hard of hearing students. And during the build-a-thon, I got really involved in the community on Discord, actually, and that's where I met Noni. And since then, I've become a Replit faculty fellow with Replit EDU. And as of today, I believe an ambassador. So,
Ooh,
yeah, a little bit about me.
update the LinkedIn. A couple of new entries there.
Welcome. More ambassadors. Yes, especially on the
Thank you.
EDU front. So
KG could use some more help. Poor KG is like we're pulling them thin, KG. Awesome. Well, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm Noni. That's not actually my real name, and my name is Shano. Noni was just a handle I use, and then it's my nickname as well, and then it just stuck. So we're gonna stick with it. I've also become an ambassador for Replit. We'll be onboarding on Friday, I think. Officially. I'm a primary school teacher as well. I joined Replit during the mobile build-a-thon, build a couple of good apps. Two of them on the App Store, one of them quite successful so far, 2K downloads, and it was like number 12 in the top educational apps. Rumor was it was number 4, but I didn't catch that one, so I can't boast about it.
You got to grab those screenshots while it's up
Yeah.
there, right? Very neat. I saw I remember seeing your video. It was really well done. Noni, can you tell us a little bit about what you built for Buildathon 10, and then also maybe like your experience prior to building with Replit?
Yeah, so before Replit, no coding experience at all. I tried to learn coding because I wanted to get into making apps, and I think I cried when I tried to learn. It's really difficult. But when during the mobile buildathon, I played around. During the 10-year buildathon, I built an app for multiplications, times tables. It's like 6 little games children can play, collect coins, and then unlock some characters. Which the characters actually, the children in my class helped me come up with their names and their design, so that was fun. And now I'm currently working on a few more interactive apps and special needs apps for children.
Very neat. And Nadia, same question. I mean, give people a little bit more color on how you took down Replit 10 Buildathon, your winning submission, and maybe your experience prior to working with Replit.
Yeah, so actually, Noni and I talked about this. I took a front end development boot camp one summer in 2020 because I've always been curious about making tools. I cried as well. And I ended up copying the code from the final project example and making my tweaks and doing it that way. So I was always taking shortcuts. And I didn't admit that until today. But basically no real coding experience. I just knew that I wanted to build tools for the problems I saw. I was teaching deaf kids. I started in 2019. I manually built out on an LMS, like I animated videos, I signed them myself. 5,000 questions, a supplemental tool. I went to market with that. And then during COVID, I started my business. I saw a boom that way, was able to get an angel investor and all that, but I wasn't able to add too much to my program for 6 years. I graduated with my doctorate in January in educational technology. And my brother-in-law, who is a full stack a developer, he told me, he's like, hey, you got to check out Replit. It's what you need. He's like, you can ask a developer to build it, or you can just do it yourself and cut out the middleman. I started using Replit in February of this year and started playing with it and got a little bit comfortable, had ideas. I wasn't able to build out on a teacher salary. So I never set out to win the build-a-thon. I just wanted to use the credits. I was like, I've got this. I've got all this research. I'm going to make it happen. And one of my favorite parts was just seeing what everybody else built and the Discord and the community around it. The win was a surprise. And actually, Noni and I connected through the Discord, and she texted me through the Discord and she sent me a message. And she's like, hey, get on if you're not on right now. I have a feeling you're gonna win. And I was like, who is this
Ooh.
person that I just met that is saying this? But she and I had an instant connection because of the way she designed for education. I loved her app. She loved mine, and it kind of blossomed into a friendship, and then the podcast now.
That's amazing. What are you thinking next for your app?
So I'm actually working on a couple things right now. Actually, Noni's helping me get on the App Store with the literacy app that I created. And I am building out a geography program as well. And that's almost done. And then I'm migrating my original program, which has been the craziest experience. The 5,000 videos and questions, Replit is actually pulling them in, the raw files, reading them, and modernizing my entire platform. And that way I can stop having things all over the place, like an LMS, having a developer and all that stuff, just bring it all over to Replit. So a lot of big things happening now.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And Noni, what are you planning next for your apps?
Just building out some really cool interactive websites that can be used in primary schools, mainly the special needs ones. So many, every year there's more and more neurodiverse children in schools, and they don't get a diagnosis for years or months. So I think it's really handy to have a tool for parents and teachers to be able to use them to support their needs.
I guess maybe a question for both of you, like broadly, like you're coming from an educational background. How do you feel like you're like an early adopter in this space, like being educators and leveraging tools like Replit? Do you feel like folks are like interested in what you're doing? Like, do you, as you talk to other teachers, are they saying like, oh, like that's too complicated for me, or that's cool, or are they like, yeah, do they want to jump in? Like, I guess like moving forward, like how do you see teachers and more educators adopting tools like Replit?
Yeah. I think
Go on.
it's worth noting we're in two different landscapes, right? So I live in Middle America. I'm from Chicago, and I'm right now in St. Louis, and I do a whole bunch of teaching around the country through telepractice. So I'm talking about a different, a landscape in education than Noni is in the UK. I can speak a little bit to Middle America outside of the tech corridors, right? I studied in New York City, and people were very forward thinking. I left there in 2015, and some of those teachers are early adopters. Middle America, AI is a dirty word sometimes in education. Yeah. And so even combating that stigma, I send out feelers on social media. I'm like, hey, what do you guys think of AI? And the comments I get back, I'm working on that stigma piece of it. We are definitely early adopters, those of us who are open about using it. I think a lot more people are using AI in some form than are willing to admit it. But that's what I see. Again, Middle America, I know it's different in Silicon Valley, and it's probably very different on the East Coast as well.
Yeah, we've had well, different schools are different here. So most schools are not into doing anything and having anything to do with AI. My school is a little bit more AI towards AI. So they're trying to integrate AI into learning, making resources, making teacher workload a lot less. I mean, I spoke to a teacher a few days ago, and she was struggling with the workload, and I said, just ask Replit, they'll make you something. And she tried it. She came back the next day and she was like, what is this magic tool? So I think it's just educators not knowing how to use it, which is the reason why me and Nadia have gone ahead and collaborated on our next project.
Yeah, I think there's two things. One is, as you put it, the stigma around AI, or at least what people say versus what they do. One, like, if you're a teacher, you probably have seen it, but like maybe the bad sides of it, like folks using ChatGPT to not do their assignments and not learn things. And so you kind of got to get over that. But I think it is just a function of, showing people what they can do with a tool like Replit. Whereas like I try to lead with educators around this idea of like, oh, you can build custom experiences for your students, or you can make your life easier with custom apps that help you plan your lessons and create resources. I was just in a Uber ride recently, and the Uber driver was a French professor, and so I was telling him about Replit, and the way that I was pitching them, like, hey, you can create a custom game for your French students. You can have them, like, you can put them in a story, and they have to interact with different people. It has to be in French, and then to progress through the game, they have to be speaking in French. And then at the end of a particular episode or a segment, you'll get feedback from the application in terms of how good your French was, and gives you kind of like gives you kind of a point in time assessment of your ability. And so that really resonated with him. It was like, oh yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And I told him, like, yeah, you could build that out in Replit and do that. So I think it is a function of just showing them the things that they can build and how they can empower themselves and their students with custom applications.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that AI literacy piece, like being able to understand what AI is actually good for and what it's not so good for, right? I think I posted recently, maybe it was on X, about it was just an epiphany I had when the teachers were saying that, oh, it's wrong sometimes. And I'm like, oh, it is not, you think that it's Google. It's not Google. You're not just looking for information, co-create with it. Give it your idea and bounce ideas back and forth and use it like a colleague instead. I like your sign, KG. I saw that. And so I honestly, I think just that misinformation around it is so prevalent. And that's a big part of what Noni and I are trying to do. And then what I'm talking to Replit EDU about is how do we correct the misinformation so that teachers and students can benefit, and then also have them be able to teach their students so that they're ready for work, right? Because prompting, knowing how to use AI tools, knowing what's out there, that's the future of employment as well, which is always my goal as a teacher, is we want to prepare them for the world. So it's a huge conversation. It's a huge thing to tackle. But I think that, if we have enough teachers in this space, we'll get there.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that. When teachers hear about vibe coding, it means nothing to them. Mm-hmm. So the reason why me and Nadia are starting our next project is because to show them what they can do with it, especially with, like, as much as we don't want children to be on the devices these days, they're always on the devices. They'd rather look at this screen than a piece of paper, which is why I created my SATs app, to get them more engaged in practicing for their exams. So there's so many tools that can be made to fix any of the gaps. A lot of the gaps, not maybe all of them, but a lot of the gaps in education.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we have to be better at here on our end is just maybe not leading with AI and vibe coding. We're in the bubble here, so we're just AI this and vibe coding that. But to your point, Noni, that's kind of like, that's a term that doesn't mean a lot to a lot of folks out there. So just kind of leading more with, like, oh, like helping your life, making your life easier, or like building custom learning experiences for your students. And oh, by the way, it's very easy to do. You just go into this application, Replit, and you just talk to it like you would like a person, and it will automatically build everything for you, and you can deploy it there on Replit. So the pitch maybe being more focused on what they can do, and like leaving all the buzzwords out of like vibe coding and AI and all that stuff, because ultimately what they care about is impacting their students and creating those experiences for them. So like I always have to make a mental note to do that, to frame it that way.
Yeah.
I think a way of maybe softening them a little bit is just saying that Replit or tools like this is a tool to create personalized engagement, to be able to shift a student's focus into a more productive, interactive experience. So that way, you keep their focus going. It's still kind of feeding into that engagement loop, but they're interacting a bit more, keeps their focus longer, and it helps retain the information that they're learning a little bit easier. At least that's the way that I see it. And I've tried to build quite a few engagement tools like this and learning tools to kind of help people go from just a basic user into a prompt engineer, and kind of the more in-depth interaction loops or collaborative loops, like what Nadia was saying with AI in general. So yeah, it's a super powerful tool, and it's kind of a shame that most people are looking at it like it's heresy. But
Well,
Yeah.
I was telling someone, I was like, teachers are already product developers. They just don't know it, right? So we are constantly planning and creating, worksheets. Before the computers, they were handwritten or on chalkboards. And then we evolved to like making our own documents and printing them. And, some people are still there. Now they're using online classroom apps and things like that. Imagine if teachers knew what was possible and just saw it as an extension of modernization of what they're already doing, because that's essentially what it is, and it's more advanced than what we've ever been able to do. So speaking their language and saying, hey, you're already doing this. Why don't you do it in a more powerful way, a more impactful way, a more accessible way, which is what I'm focused on. And talking to them in their language, you can differentiate, you can have your planning time. There's so many ways, and I think that's why teachers need to understand it and tell each other about it.
Yeah. Better, faster tools for an already hard job. Why not try to make it easier?
Absolutely.
The other angle here, I think that needs a little bit more attention is just this idea of being able to customize the learning experience to the student and where they are.
Mhm.
So right now, like if you're in a classroom, it's kind of a one size fits all. You go at the pace of the curriculum. And then, just hands on one-on-one training is kind of tough, when you're one teacher and you have 20 students. But what AI allows you to do is to customize that experience for that particular child and also to meet that child where they are. So if they haven't mastered addition, don't move them on to subtraction and then multiplication. Like they can like continue to stay at that level, and AI can continue like to hack on that until they meet a certain threshold and then moves them along. So I think that's another powerful angle that AI is going to bring to the table, is this meeting the student where they are. And then the other thing that comes to mind too, Nadia, is just kind of like looking at your example, is the ability for teachers to target kids that maybe don't have the largest cohort. So like you're targeting deaf students, and like there's probably not a lot of those folks out there. So there's probably not a lot of off the shelf applications and tooling that you can use for those students, and so that population might be underserved. But you, being the expert in the space, being the teacher in the space, you can go out and you can build something that's custom made for that demographic, and then make that available to more and more people, and at a at a lower price point as well. So those are the two things that I think about in terms of why I'm excited about AI in education. Again, like meeting the student where they are, and then helping smaller niche groups that maybe haven't gotten the attention that they should have in the past.
Yeah, and one thing that I'll say is in special education and education in general, we have this concept of differentiation, which is basically if you're teaching multiplication or reading and you've got kids at different levels, what the teacher will do is they will plan that same lesson manually for that 30-minute period of time. So essentially you're planning 30 minutes for different groups of kids. This is very common in even a regular education classroom, even more in gen ed, general education. What I did with deaf kids was I would have a kid who just had no language in middle school. And I would have to simplify the language on the worksheets or the videos so that that one kid in my class could access what I needed him to access. Now it's done automatically. I created my literacy program. The kids can go in, it knows what level they're at. It has the teacher can sign it to them. They can listen. You click a word in a book that represents them, and the picture comes up. So it's amazing, and it can be done with like a prompt or two, which is unbelievable. The amount of time that it saved me, I feel like it saved me years of my life. Not to be dramatic, but honestly.
Totally. We have someone here saying a former teacher, retired principal, just overflowing with ideas. Yeah, like I feel like, yeah, if you're retired or even if you're a parent and you want to get more involved in your local school district, like bringing in tools like Replit and helping them prototype different ideas, that's got to be a big opportunity as well. So might have to bring you back from retirement, Stradunkus. um, and help you kind of help some of these schools start using tools like Replit to create these custom learning experiences.
Yeah. I mean, another advantage too with Replit is you're able to put together something that someone can interact with beforehand if you're trying to propose these new tools or this new kind of, we'll say like regime change of handling classes. So being able to give somebody that you're pitching it to, here's how this works, blah blah blah, instead of just kind of vaguely presenting or trying to explain in detail. So another advantage, put it in people's hands. It usually makes acceptance a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, they'll see it, and when they get to try it, it speaks for itself.
That's a great point. I mean, I guess for folks like Sardunkus here, or like other folks that are looking to get started with this, what's the best place to start? We have our education fellows, and you mentioned that you were putting together some additional resources. So if someone wants to start working on this and getting more up to speed and helping teachers, or maybe they're a teacher and they want to start using Replit, what would you recommend for them?
Well, there's a couple different angles. You can learn, the best way to learn, I think, is through doing and through action. So
Yeah.
even if you don't know what you're doing yet, just start. Don't wait to be ready. And if people say, "Well, I've got so many ideas. Where do I start?" Start with the problem. What's the problem? This is entrepreneurship in general. What's the problem that you see that sticks out to you that you wish there was a solution for? And then go into plan mode. And I was lecturing someone about this yesterday. I'm like, go into plan mode and just shoot your ideas at it, talk to it, and it will co-create with you, and it will help you pressure test ideas and whatnot. The other thing is, it can be overwhelming, especially if you don't see yourself as a tech person and whatnot. And that's part of why Noni and I started the podcast, which now through Replit, actually, we got a domain. It's classroom2code.com. And our first episode's on Spotify already. And we also are on YouTube if you want to see us. For whatever reason, we have slides. And so that's what we have. And we're aiming for at least one episode a week. Schools are out where I am. They're not out where Noni is.
Nope.
So the frequency is going to depend, but we're trying to go for a Tuesday release every week. Join us for Teacher Tuesday and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and we do plan on inviting on some people from Replit, moms, teachers, even dads, parents, who have experience with it, so they can share what they've built, and that can kind of give experience or build on to something that someone else can do too.
Would you mind dropping the link to that for me? To the podcast. I know you posted about it on X. I just can't find the post. You can drop it in the private chat here and restream.
Okay.
I'd love to show that, and if not, let me find that, because I think that's such a cool idea that you're rolling out a podcast. I think there's so much demand for this. Actually, I think I have it right here. I got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was actually Nadia's idea. Nadia approached me and said, "Should we make a podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Well, we were talking, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what we're talking about is so valuable. I don't want to keep it to myself, right? If we're in it for the impact, right? And so the impact of us talking is going to lead to our good ideas. What if we build in public, right? And what if we do this in public and we say, we welcome, join us, be a part of this discussion and the community that we have, because community is another huge part of why we love Replit. We found each other. I can't believe we've only been friends since the Build-a-thon. I feel like I told Noni, I was like, you're my British counterpart. Like it's crazy. But it's enough difference to keep it interesting. It's a great community. It's a great tool, and we're really excited. And would love to hear from people who have ideas for the podcast as well.
Yeah. And I've also spoken to other educators about Replit, and they worry about not knowing the technical language. And I just give them my example. I just used really informal language, told Replit what I wanted, and this was back when it was Agent 3. The first prototype it came up with was just fantastic. So you just got to give it a try. Just dive in head first, see what you do.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so excited for what you're doing. I think it's going to make such a difference. AI can do so much good in the educational space. So I'm really happy that you are sharing what you're learning and just bringing people together. And I just love that you came together in the Replit community, and now you're going off and you're doing your own thing. So I think that's a good template for folks. Like, you're going to find somebody here that you can hang with, that you jive with, and then you're going to go and build something together and make a real impact for folks. Where should people be following you? What's the best place to stay updated? I posted your tweet on the YouTube chat, but anywhere else people should be following you?
Yeah, I am most active on X. So it's at NIFTEK. And then also I'm on LinkedIn, Nadia Iftikhar. And I recently this year got NadiaIftikhar.com. Surprise, surprise, it wasn't taken. so I got that. And that has all the links to everything I create and all that as well.
Yeah, and I'm Noni Bamboo on X and on Instagram. Not really active on LinkedIn. So, and we also have our code to classrooms code Instagram that we've just started.
Very neat. And please send me your links and your handles, and I'll be sure to include it in the show notes. But Nadia, Noni, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on the show. I'm looking forward to having you back on and you giving us an update in terms of the progress that you've made.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool. How about that, KG?
No, that was super cool. I'm actually excited to check out their stream. So that nice little handle, Teacher Tuesdays, definitely kicked in. So it'll be cool.
I like it. And I think, for me, it's like the community folks coming together, hanging, meeting each other. And I think this is just credit to what you and Reimer are doing with Discord, like managing that and setting that up so that people can connect with each other and chat. I think it's so important. It's hard to do, hard to stand up, but this is the output. People connecting and doing some really cool things together.
Yeah, and I mean, biggest thing that Raymar usually is saying, you don't have to have something that's backed by Replit to start a group or a meetup or a project like this. You can just get connected with somebody on your own and start your own thing too. You don't need permission to do these things. You can just straight up build it out and do it how you want to. So, and it's just kudos to the awesome community that's in the Discord and across the rest of Replit as well. So yeah, excited to see more of Noni and Nadia and everything else that the rest of the Replit community puts together. So
I also really like the content angle. They're doing a podcast. They're going to be pushing out content on a regular basis. I think it's a great way to help you stay on track of things. Because like when I know I have to go live on a particular day, I got to get up to speed on everything. Two, it's a great way to build community. So people start tuning in, you start connecting with them, you start getting a sense of what they need, what you should build for them. And it's just a great way to get ideas. So I think it's underappreciated, the content part of things. So I'm glad they're doing that. Also, you should make note of their entries because they both had really good videos. So they built a really cool app, but they also had really good packaging around that. So I saw Nadia's video, I saw Noni's video. I actually saw Noni's video and I really liked it. I reposted it, I shared it. She got a bunch of attention that way. So again, it goes back to this notion that it's not enough to have a good app. You also have to market it. You have to get it out there. You have to package it up so that people can actually check it out and see the cool app that you built. You got to do both things. You got to build and you got to sell.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. You got to hit a wide blanket, get everything across the board, as many chances as possible to get some attention and kind of get a following. So,
as you're wrangling up more guests